Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first YouTube video, so I'm really excited to bring you guys this eyebrow tutorial. It's very long overdue, so bear with me. But today I'm going to be showing you guys how to wait. Before we do that, I'm sorry, I definitely have to introduce myself. My name is Lakirah. I am a self-taught makeup artist in Queens, New York, and I'm also a psychiatric social worker for the city of New York. So I think that I wanted to start off with just making this YouTube video just to give you guys an intro into makeup. For those of you who like to, you know, dibble and dabble in makeup, but it's not really your thing. A lot of girls are into like doing their eyebrows nowadays, so I thought it would be cool just to show you guys my way and how I do my brows. I'm here today to show you guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started. I will start off by showing you guys what products I'm gonna be using first, and then I'll just go into the tutorial. So starting off, we'll be using this black Radiance pressed powder. So this is in the color Rich Mahogany, and I'll go more into details about colors and how they can match you and all those other things while I'm doing it. But we're going to be using that. We're also going to be using the Loreal Brow Stylist Definer in the color Brunette. Probably can't see that, but it's in the color Brunette. We're gonna use a fluffy brush like this. It's like an eyeshadow brush. We're gonna need a brush for concealer. So this is the brush that I have. It is from MAC, a 252S brush. And then I also use like a brush to blend out the concealer after. So any type of rounded brush like this will work. I also have this Real Techniques brush that you can also use, but it's very similar to that one. And then last but not least, you're going to need 2 shades of concealer. So you're going to need a concealer that is matching your skin tone, and then you're going to need one that is a little bit lighter, about 2 shades lighter than your skin complexion. So this one is the one that I'll be using for my skin complexion. This is Rich Sand in the Tarte Shape Tape, I'm sorry. And then I'm also going to be using Deep. So that's this one. So this one is the lighter one. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm gonna start off by adding powder to my brows. So as I said, I'm using the Black Radiance pressed powder, and basically the purpose of this is to get your brows matte, so that it's easy to draw on. And I'm gonna be looking in my mirror over here on the side. If it looks weird, that is why. But I need to see, I can't look into the camera to do this. So you're going to be using the color shade that is pretty much a shade that's, I honestly don't think you really need a shade that matches you, but I mean, I always use a shade that's close to my complexion. Either way, you're going to dust it off, so it's not really going to matter. But obviously you don't want to use something super light or super dark. So try to find something that is as close to your complexion as possible. So you're literally gonna just add the powder to your brow. And as I said before, the purpose of this is just to mattify your brows. So you want to do that to both brows. And I like to tap off the excess powder after I dip into the powder. You can use any type of powder. You can also use like a loose powder if you want to. It's really up to you. So I'm gonna add that onto my brow. and this kind of changes the color of my brow. It kind of looks really brown, but don't worry, it isn't going to stay that way because you're going to use a spoolie to brush out your brows also in addition to this. So in order to see if it's matte, I like to just feel the brow. If it starts to feel like a little hard, then you know that it's pretty much matte enough. But you want to get it to where it feels like really, really dry. I can't really explain what it feels like. I guess it just feels really, really, really dry. And excuse me guys if I keep looking over to the side. I'm supposed to be looking at you guys, but I'm new to this YouTube thing, so bear with me, bear with me. So yeah, I'm gonna keep adding my powder until I feel like it is enough, and I'm literally just pressing it onto my brow, following the shape of my brow and pressing onto it. A tip is that it's so much easier to do your eyebrows when they're already shaped and when they're already like freshly done. If you do get your eyebrows done, I promise you it will be so much easier to do than if your eyebrows are not like done and shaped already. I get my eyebrows threaded, so that's why I have this shape right now. So okay, so my brows are pretty much matte at this point. So now I'm gonna take my L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer and I'm gonna basically draw the shape of my eyebrows now. So I start with drawing the shape. You're literally just gonna be following the bottom line of your brow, and then you're gonna also be following the top line on top of your brow. Now me, I'm a little deficient in hair on the ends, so this really helps me to add a tail to my eyebrow. So yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about when I draw this. So you want to start off, and I have to get really close to the camera. I don't want to block it. You want to start off by just literally following the line underneath your brow. And you don't want to press too much, especially not in the front of your brow, because you want the front to have like a fade out effect. But you're literally just drawing on and following the under eye. So yeah, you can see how I just kind of like followed underneath my brow. And so to stop, you want to basically stop where your eye ends. So if I was to drag this all the way up, I would stop my brow here. So if I don't know if you guys can understand what I mean, but you want to basically line up with your eye. Some people like shorter brows. That's up to you. I just think longer brows look better, so I do it that way. So that's the bottom, and I'm just gonna add a little bit more here. That's the bottom, and then I'm gonna do the top. So the same thing that you did with the bottom, you're gonna do with the top, starting at the very end, literally just drawing in your arch 92. Okay, so you want to arch it. All right, so here, as you can see, I don't have eyebrows here, so this is where I'm going to create my tail. So I'm just going to draw in where it should have been, and then you can see that now I created a tail for myself. Okay, you want to try to make it skinnier towards the end of here. Sometimes I'm not successful at doing it with the pencil, but when you take the concealer, you can honestly make your brow a lot sharper. So don't worry if you don't get it off of just doing it with the pencil. But I'm gonna connect it all the way to the end, and then just I'm just making this line a little darker in the front. Okay, so that is one brow, and my eyebrows are very thick, so it honestly probably looks like I already filled it in, which I have not yet, but I don't need to do much filling in. because my eyebrows are really thick. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I'm not going to talk as much just because I already showed you guys on the other side. And boom, there you have it. So this is my eyebrows before I shaded them in. Now I'm gonna shade them in slightly. I don't need to. I wish I had thinner eyebrows so I can really show you guys the shading, but I really don't have thin eyebrows. So literally all you're doing is shading in the spots where the eyebrows look sparse. So I don't think you can see it on the camera, but my eyebrows look sparse. Obviously at the ends, that's really where I have to add most of the color, the pencil. So I'm gonna take the pencil and just color it in, not pressing too hard because you don't want them to be very dark. So shading it in just enough. And then I could use some up here. All right. And then at the front, you can shade in the front. So the front you want to have like a gradient effect. So instead of coloring in like this, how you were on the ends, the front, if you want to shade it in, I would recommend to just do hair-like strokes. So kind of going like this, because the front of your brows are supposed to stand up anyway, stand up straight. So that's what I would do in the front. I don't really need it, so I'm not able to really show you, but you would basically just take the pencil and do it in a vertical motion, just going up and down. So I'm gonna shade in the other brow at the end as I did on the other side, on the right side. Okay. And you're just filling in those gaps, like anywhere that you see is a little sparse. Okay, so boom, this is your brows shaded and basically drawn in. So the last step, well, close to last step, is pretty much just concealing your brows. Now this part is very, I'm not gonna say hard. For a beginner, it might be a little bit harder. It takes practice to get it good. Even myself, I'm still perfecting the brow. But you want to take the concealer that is the shades lighter than you. And this is gonna go underneath your brow. So it's basically meant to highlight underneath your eyebrow. When you put eyeshadow, or if you're gonna put eyeshadow, it creates just a clean surface, and it basically conceals your eyelids so that you don't see any dark circles. Like I have really dark eyelids, so with the concealer you won't see any of that. It just makes a clean, a nice palette, a nice smooth palette to basically put eyeshadow on, or to just leave as is if you aren't going to use eyeshadow. So I'm going to just take some concealer, and I like to use a nice amount of concealer. Like, I'm not cheap with the concealer. We're not doing that. we want to use a nice amount because you want to really make sure that it's very clean. So I like to just put it like on the side of my hand. You can put it on anything if you want. It's up to you, however you want to do it, but this having it right here next to me is really clutch. So fun tip is my brush has eyelash glue already on it. I actually use the Duo. Let me try to find it for you guys. I use the Duo lash glue. This is what it looks like. And then I also use some NYX glitter primer. This right here. And I pretty much just mixed it on my brush and I did like this to make it flat. The goal is to get your brush as flat as possible because it makes it just so much easier to spread the concealer on and to have those sharp lines if your brush is really flat. So that's the fun tip before I go into actually doing the concealing. It's gonna make your brush really flat. It's gonna make it hard. So it's just anything that makes it easier, I'm here for it. I'm really here for it. So, okay. So we're gonna start in, and I like to, when I'm doing my eyebrows on clients, I like to hold my eyebrow up. On myself, I really don't do it, but it's pretty much up to you. It would help a lot probably though if you held it up this way and then concealed it. So I'm gonna move in a lot so that I can see. So yeah, you want to start by pretty much just drawing underneath, concealing underneath your eyebrow. This is not on your eyebrow yet. This is just getting close to it. Okay. Get close to it. And then you want to take your brush and lay it flat. So I kind of alternate between flat and like drawing it this way, but you have to be careful with drawing it this way because that can add a lot of concealer onto your brows. So you start at the very end. I like to start like before my actual brow, and I'm gonna turn this way so you guys can see. This is difficult, guys. Doing this on the mirror and having you guys see. Okay, so I like to start before, and I'm not gonna talk, I'm just gonna do it. Okay, holding it is not working, so I'm not gonna hold it. I'm just gonna conceal in. So I'm literally just following the line. Okay. And I got some concealer like in my brow by mistake. So I'm gonna take that out with the brush. Okay, so yeah. Just conceal, dragging the concealer all the way down. Okay. And I totally told you guys to do it flat, but as I said, it's easier for me to do it this way, but you have to be careful with doing it that way because you can add a lot of product onto your brush. But ultimately, you just want your line to be very, very straight. Okay. All right. So I got it pretty straight. So with the rest of my concealer, I'm gonna just bring it down. I'm gonna drag it down and I'm going to pretty much add it to my lid. And this is gonna basically conceal all of the darkness on my lid and give you that clean clean eyeshadow base. So for purposes of this, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna take this brush and pretty much just blend it out. First I'm gonna start with the corners, blending out the corners. And this concealer dries very quick, so you have to be careful with your timing. And you don't have to do this, but I just like to blend it out while I'm already on that brow because it's just much easier for me. You are gonna end up adding more concealer in the middle part of your nose, so I just don't want to make sure you don't have any harsh lines moving forward around the perimeters of where you put the shadow, the concealer. Okay, so that's the under eye, and I'm gonna do the other side, and I'm not gonna speak on the other side, I'm just gonna do it, but I'm pretty much just gonna do the same thing that I did on this side. Okay, and a trick is connecting both brows with the concealer so that you can make them pretty much identical. Well, eyebrows are not, what's the saying? Eyebrows are not twins, they're sisters. But you want to try to get them as close to each other as possible. So you want to, I try to connect them just so that I know that they're on the same, just the same, I'm about to say same page. So you know they're on the same level. And I'm just adding that concealer underneath here. I pretty much got the line on the first try, if you can see that. So I don't really need to go back in and do it again. So that's why I'm dragging this down at this point. Just dragging down. Okay. And then I'm going to go in and I'm gonna blend it out. Just using press-in motions to blend it into your skin. I'm also gonna, you can also use a beauty blender to do this part as well. I'm gonna show you in a second how you can use a beauty blender. Okay, that's pretty much blended out at this point. I am gonna take my beauty blender and do it again. Okay, so take it and just press it out. Press it out, press it out. Okay, that's one side. And then let's do the other side. Okay, now to the top. So we're gonna do the top of the brows. This is what the bottom looks like so far. And we're gonna take the same brush, or you can take a different brush. It doesn't really matter. Excuse me. And you're gonna take that darker concealer. This is the concealer that is closest to your complexion at this point. And you're gonna use that for the top because you wanna match your complexion on the top. Okay. As I said, you want to use a nice amount of concealer. And I'm gonna take my brush, and I'm pretty much gonna do the same thing that I did on the top. I mean on the bottom. Just follow that line that I already created. Okay, so, and you can try to kind of wipe off some of the excess if it's too much before you start. Let me turn this way. Okay, so I'm just creating that line, starting from the top. And you might have to do this a couple times before you get it right. I'm literally just following what I drew. And I'm being careful not to cut off the brow too much when I get over here. So now, this is when I'm gonna start to bring the concealer closer. So you see how I brought it down, I brought it down this way so that I can make that sharp tip. And it's not all the way sharp yet, but I'm gonna keep bringing it down until I can get it as sharp as possible. Okay. Okay, that's pretty sharp. That's pretty sharp. So I'm satisfied with that. So we're gonna leave it like this. But you want, this is, if you can see this is how sharp it is, and this is how clean. You want your lines to be very, very, very clean. So I'm gonna take the blending brush that I was using, and I'm gonna blend out the top. And of course, this should look a little bit more blended into your skin. You are gonna go in with foundation after this. Obviously, I'm not gonna go into that in this video, but this is just basically making another clean slate for the top. So I like to just blend out those lines so that there's no harsh lines on the outside of the concealer. Okay, so that's the first brow, and now we're gonna do the second brow. Same exact thing. Okay, so we're just gonna clean that up a little bit. Make it skinnier and sharper. And am I content with that? I'm content with that. But if you notice, I did take off a little bit of the brow right there. So what I'm gonna do, this is the trick. If you find yourself taking off too much of your brow, you wanna take your pencil, you wanna draw it back in where it's supposed to be. Every time you draw it, you're gonna get a little bit of concealer on the brush, on the pencil. So you're just gonna take your finger and wipe it off, and then keep going in with the pencil until you get it back to the way that you want to have it. Okay, so I drew it back on, and now I'm gonna go back in with my brush, and I'm gonna conceal again. Okay, so boom, I got it perfect the way I wanted it. Okay, so this is how your brows should look at this point. Okay, now it is, at this point, it's pretty blended out. My bottom is blended out, my top is blended out, and now this middle part looks crazy, right? You have a unibrow. So you want to take, I like to take a clean brush that's very similar to that and kind of just use this middle section and just brush the middle section, brush the middle section up and down, because you want to put a separation in between your brows, right? There's a separation. You want to separate until your brow pretty much lines up right here with the bridge of your nose, the side of your nose. So separation on this side. And you should start to see that gradient effect in the front of your brow. Sometimes I like to blend this in a little like this. Be careful with this side, with doing this, because you don't want to take off the concealer too much at the top. Okay, so we're doing this. Just blending inside the brow. And I'm literally just going in the inside. I'm not touching the top of the brow. You may need to use a smaller brush to do that. Okay, so there you have it. That is the middle of the brow blended out. And your brows are looking good now, girl. You looking good. So the last piece of this is to use some brow gel, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but you want to use some brow gel just to keep your brows in place. And I use the Clear Brow and Lash Mascara by e.l.f. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's backwards. Okay, it has one side for brows and one side for lashes. Honestly, I'm gonna use both for brows, but for now, use the brow side. So you want to just add some brow gel to your brows, and you can use any type of brow gel that you have. I just think this one is really good. So in the front, you want to start by pretty much brushing your hairs upward, and you want to be as light as possible with this step, because you don't want to take off too much of your brows. So you want to start by brushing upwards in the front. Okay, and see, I took off a little bit of my brows. This is exactly what I was saying. You have to be careful with that step. So yeah, starting with the front, brushing upwards, and then when you get towards the middle, you want to brush going in the direction of your brows. So it should all be going this way, but you don't want to press too hard on this, because you don't want to take off all the product on your brow. So you're going very lightly, just brushing in the right direction, following the hairs that are already there. Okay. Up. All right, so this one is in place, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this side. Starting up at the front, and then going this way when I get towards the middle. And you will take off some of the product, like if you can see, some of it is on my brush. But you don't want to take off all of it. Most of it should still be on your brows. Okay. All right, and that goes all the way to the end. And this will just set your brows for the day and keep them in place. Okay, so you can kind of see my brows are a little glossy now at this point. So we're pretty much done, guys. I think these came out pretty good. These came out pretty good. So yeah, that's how I do my brow tutorial. I hope you guys like this video. There will be many, many, many more. But don't forget to like, comment, and tell me what you liked about this video. And don't forget to push the bell at the bottom so that you can get the notifications and subscribe to me. So I'll see you guys next time, and stay safe.